everyone. Welcome to the Storage Business Owners Alliance's live webinar, Key Components of Marketing Self-Storage. My name is Jessica Johnson. I'm the Director of Marketing and Operations for the SBOA, and I'm really happy to join today as the moderator of this panel. Today, I'm joined by a marketing panel of some key team members, not ours, wish they were ours, of Easy Storage Solutions, one of our valued vendor partners that we work with here over at the SBOA. Today we have Ken Turley, Chief Marketing Officer. We have Kale Leavitt, Vice President of Marketing. Stephen Ho, Business Development and SEO Director. And Josh Gracia, Director of SEO and Pay-Per-Click Marketing. As many of you already know, the SBOA is the national leading business association of independent self-storage owners and operators. We seek advantageous partnerships with industry-leading partners like Easy Storage Solutions to help assist our members in reducing expenses, increasing their profitability, and helping with overall business operational needs. Not only do these partnerships help with items I just mentioned, all of this is offered exclusively to our members at preferred pre-negotiated pricing that you can receive simply by being a member of the SBOA. The SBOA membership is free and comes with the benefits of these exclusive offers from our valued partners, plus resources for owners and operators like today's live webinar. Our goal with today is to convey to our valued members how the SBOA can assist in making connections for your business, such as Easy Storage Solutions, while saving you time and money. A few quick housekeeping items. At the conclusion of the panel, we will open up the session to the audience so our attendees can ask the Easy Storage Solutions marketing team some questions. If you have a question, just simply click on the question tab and enter your question there, and I will facilitate the question over to someone on the panel. We highly encourage you to jump on and engage with the panel live since they took time out of their busy schedules today to host this webinar with us. To the entire Easy Storage Solutions panel and marketing team, thank you guys so much for being here with us. We appreciate your willingness to participate today. I'm now going to turn the session over to Ken to introduce himself and his team. Welcome, Ken.
Thank you for having me. Like Jessica said, my name is Ken Turley. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Easy Storage Solutions. I handle all marketing for the company, but also specifically oversee and help build the SEO and online marketing service. Kale here, go for it.
Yeah, my name is Kale Leavitt. I am the Vice President of Marketing here at Easy Storage Solutions. I handle more of the technical side of our marketing team, whether that's website design, hosting servers, integrations, and same with Easy Storage Solutions, the company website. So. Yeah.
I'm Josh Gracia. I'm the SEO Director and PPC Strategist here at Easy Storage Solutions. So I usually just I'm in charge of the SEO side of things and building strategies to implement with our clientele and to help their businesses grow, as well as oversee the team here.
And then my name's Steven. I'm the Business Development SEO Director. I mainly handle the small business accounts that we have over here, and also I'll help out with the SEO operations as well.
Yeah, so today we're really excited. We please encourage you guys to please, throw some questions on there, interact with us as much as we can. Even though this is a webinar and we have kind of a panel type thing where we're going to be going over a lot of slides, we do want this to be as engaging as possible. We want it to be worth everybody's time. So please engage, ask honest questions. We'll do our best to give you guys as much information as we can. So today, like mentioned before, we are talking about just the key components of marketing your self-storage facility and your business. We're just going to go over a few objectives here, just to let you kind of know what to expect throughout this and what our goals are for this is we're going to go through these key steps. The first step being getting your management tools in place and your operational tools, getting your website in place, investing in actual SEO and your strategy there, also into other resources like PPC, and then we're going to talk a little bit about creating a plan that you can actually analyze and adjust. One of the big common misconceptions that we're really trying to kind of help you in this industry overcome is that they don't have the time or energy to have an effective marketing plan in place. In this self-storage industry, we've been doing it for years. We've been marketing in this industry for years, helping facilities, thousands of them, market their facilities better and get more renters and be a more successful facility overall. So hopefully these steps will help you emulate some of the things that we do for our clients or answer some questions that can help piece some things together. So to start off, when we talk about marketing, this usually isn't the first place people assume that they need to start is getting your management tools in place. What we mean by that is there's so many things that come to mind when you start thinking about marketing your facility that a lot of times, because it's such an important need, we sometimes neglect the operational things that we actually need in order for our marketing to go smoothly. If you think about it this way, if my facility doesn't have a self-storage software, if it doesn't have a simple, easy to use software that has online rentals, and then I go out and I spend all this money and all this time on marketing my facility, but yet they can't rent online seamlessly, I can't track things very well, I'm just wasting my time and my money by not capitalizing on those leads and those things that I'm doing on the marketing side. So having these types of things are important. So I'll just kind of run through these things as you can see on the screen, but getting a software in place is so critical. It needs to have online rental capability, it needs to be able to work with mobile friendly. We all know that by now. Over half the traffic, over half the traffic online is done through mobile devices. So your website needs to be able to do that. Make sure that it has recurring billing, make sure that it has reminders and things like that, because you want your facility to operate smoothly. And then lastly, we also just need to make sure you have a secure website that is technically sound and that is secure for a lot of reasons, and we'll get into that a little bit more as we go. Some other things that operationally that you may not think of that can be really effective is things like your gate. Does your access control system integrate with your software? That can impact the way you market your facility, because people will like to know they have those types of features where they have 24-hour access through their gate. And also you want your customers to have a good experience, which affects your marketing. So many things kind of touch and affect your marketing and how your facility is viewed online and the reputations you're getting with your clients. And so these types of tools are really important. Some other ones are having a call answering service. I mean, you've probably heard this statistic even from us before in past webinars, but 4 out of every 10 phone calls are placed to a storage facility are missed. So you're just paying for all these leads and all these phone calls and all these things, and if you're not answering the phone, you're just missing out on leads. They're calling somebody else, they're trying to get pricing and other information. So you need to be able to have a way to answer those, whether that's full-time manager or a backup service or whatever you need. There are tools in the industry. As well as accounting and bookkeeping, make sure that you're operational, that you're operating efficiently with your budget, that you actually know what you can spend with your marketing. And then there's other things that are other revenue sources that are nice that people need. One thing I think people don't understand when they look at marketing their facility is they just think about their occupancy. I just got to get occupancy. I just got to get occupancy up, which obviously that's the most critical thing to a facility. But other things like tenant protection or insurance plans and things like that are additional revenue streams for you as a business owner, but also impact the way you market your facility. People want to know that they have protection. They want to know that they have certain security features, certain things like that. And we'll get into the importance of actually marketing those things. But when we wanted to touch on this point first to kind of set a table of, okay, we have the operational stuff in place. Now we're going to move on to the marketing side of things.
So yeah, I'm going to talk about a website. First off, this is kind of the landing page for your business. You're going to market to people in features and ways that we're going to go over later on. But this is really where you want to start out. You want to make sure that you have a very mobile-friendly website, a professional design. Kenny kind of talked about it. Over half the traffic nowadays is on a mobile device. You want to make sure that your website it works with a mobile device. It's able to, everyone's able to interact with your website on multiple sizes. Professional design, I can't tell you how many websites I've gone to that, don't look great, they don't look modern, they're not updated, don't have great pictures. And a lot of times what we've seen with those types of designs is people just leave your site automatically. They say, okay, well, this isn't as legitimate a business as what I want to interact with. So professional design is kind of the first emotional connection that you have with a visitor on your website. Quality content, that kind of goes into the same thing. You want to make sure the content it works for your facility, it relates to your facility. And then you want to design with, conversions in mind. Our main goal of our website, we want to get people to the website, but there's, you want people to convert. You want them to become renters. You don't want to pay for people to get to your website and then they just leave and go to a competitor. You want to convert. You want to create them as a paying customer. And that's kind of things we're going to talk about. And website tracking as well, a big part of SEO and website design is actually data driven and data testing. We want to implement tracking into our website in order to track everything, whether it's how people interact with the website, it's how long they're spending on certain pages, little things like that we want to make sure that we're tracking and keeping an eye on so that we can make educated decisions. So first off, we're going to talk a little bit more about website content. Like I said, you want to make sure it's high quality, relevant, great pictures, because people have a short attention span. Users nowadays, especially, I think there's a statistic out there, they have a lower attention span than a goldfish. If they jump on and they're not getting the information that they want quickly, they're going to leave and they're going to go to a competitor. So we want to make sure that we have high quality content that's engaging, it's giving the people the information that they want. And then it helps your website look better, better pictures, better, more text, helps your website to look more professional and draw the user in. And then also kind of stuff we'll go into later, but optimized content, it helps you rank higher on search engines. And that's kind of the goal of marketing, is to draw more people in. So a few things just about website content. We want to make sure that it's up to date. You don't want people showing up to your gate after hours because your website says something and then leaving a bad review online because of things like that. So we want to make sure that we update our website content continually and make sure that all the information a person would need is on the website. Each page should focus on on stuff that's relevant to that page. We want to make sure that people aren't confused. It's simple. There's things that some of you might say your kids can handle, 5 or 6 year old kids can handle a computer better than you can. But we want to make sure that each website is built to where people can navigate and the kids can navigate through your website and get to where you want to go. They want to make it simple. There's a saying, it's keep it simple, stupid. You want to make sure that it's simple and that customers can navigate to your site very effectively and very efficiently to get to where they need in order to rent those units. So in order to kind of quickly go through how to set up tracking, because like I said, we want to have data-driven results. We want to do A/B testing on conversions to see what's converting better. We want to kind of see and actually know what does better, and that's kind of techniques that you can implement is trying out different conversion tactics, whether that's promotions or changing the call to action around, changing the website up a little bit. We want to make sure that we're tracking that and we're seeing, okay, how effective is this? And that's where Google Analytics is going to come in. And this is kind of how you set up a Google Analytics account. You'll go into Google Analytics, create an account, set up an analytics tag, and then also set up goals as well to where you're tracking those conversions, whether that's a page load on a page that they only go to if they rent a unit or a button click. We want to track that so we can see, okay, this is your conversion rate. This is how many people are coming to your website and actually converting. And there's different things that you can do within Google Analytics to really make sure that you're data driven and you're the most efficient as possible, because we don't want to spend money on marketing that's not effective, and that's what that Google Analytics will allow you to do. Yeah, so that's kind of just how to set it up. You go in there and then you actually insert that tag into your website that will allow you to gather all the data on users.
One thing to remember with that too is obviously he's kind of leading you through those steps, and they're fairly simple to follow through and to go get your analytics account set up. Most people that build a website have an analytics account, but the conversion side of it sounds way more complicated than it really is. It's very easy to set up your conversions, and it is very, very, very critical. Kale's talking, and he puts that on the slide there, is like website rentals and phone calls. Those are actual conversions. So if I know I'm spending, a couple $1,000s a month or $1,000 a month, whatever the price may be, I can then, because of tracking, I can know how much return on investment I'm actually getting, because I know I rented this many units and they directly came from my website. So conversions are huge. You need to have proper conversions. So moving into this next step is going to be kind of the meat of our topic, and really the meat of what we do at Easy Storage. Besides just software, is we help people with their SEO services and their online marketing, and it is so critical, but at the same time does not have to be as complicated as I think some people think it is. There's kind of a mystique or this like black magic type thing that people think SEO is. There's just people think that you have to pay Google money and you have to do those things, and it's just there's so many misconceptions about what SEO actually is, and it changes all the time. So we are Google certified and Google partners. We have taken tests. We know when we're up to date, we know what Google's best practices are. So Josh and Steven are both going to kind of tag team this slide here a little bit, these next few slides, and kind of explain the core pieces of SEO without getting too complicated, but at the same time, just kind of stress the importance and why it's so critical to invest in SEO.
Yeah, and I guess I'll take the lead, and then whenever feel free to fill in. But with SEO, like Ken said, it's kind of our bread and butter, just because it's a topic where not a lot of people know about this technique on how to gain more exposure into the online web. You always look into the Google search or even Bing or whatever, and you'll see the results on there, but most people don't quite understand, how it's even getting there. They're just assuming there's some sort of method to it, and there is, and that's SEO. So what does SEO stand for? It stands for Search Engine Optimization. And what it is it's to increase traffic and rank your website on Google and other search engines. Initially, we tend to focus a little bit more onto the Google aspect, just because Google, for the most part, everyone knows it dominates the industry. I mean, there's a simple term that we use, but when someone wants to look up something, they'll just say, go Google it, just because Google is a powerhouse into the search engines. Not to say that the other ones are neglected, but Google, for the most part, has the mainstay power into search engines. And what we do typically, and most other people do, is they follow a thing called Google's best practices. It's a set of guidelines that basically entails the best techniques and procedures to follow to best rank your website. Now, as far as what entails into these, there's a bunch of different factors that apply that are going to rank with your website. So it's up to either yourself or a smart marketing agency to take care of those needs, so that way they can match up those optimizations with your website, so that way you can try to get the highest ranking you can for your website. Some benefits of how SEO can help you. The first thing we would list is drive quality web traffic to your website. So with SEO, our main, like the first description kind of entails, our main objective is to get you to rank higher into search engines such as Google. Typically, that first page is where we want to gain the most, where you gain the most visibility and traffic. So if we're able to get you a higher ranking on Google and get you within that first page, at least, typically we prefer to get you number one. But overall, as long as we can get you to the first page, it's going to drive in a lot more quality web traffic so then people can find your facility. The next step is to increase rentals. So as you're able to increase the traffic driven to your website, that's also going to create the potential of catching more potential leads for your actual facility. Because I mean, at the end of the day, the whole purpose of why you're trying to market your facility is because you want to gain more clients, so then hopefully you can gain more revenue and then hopefully have an actual functional business. So I kind of got into the last point, but gain revenue is the main objective. Obviously, we want to offer a quality service with our storage units, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure you're a profitable business. And the best way to do that is to be able to gain more potential leads. And how you're going to be able to do that is going to be able to rank into the online search, so that way you can gain more quality traffic.
And just to kind of add on to that, like Ken said, there's kind of this mystique around SEO. It kind of sounds complicated to people. The idea of SEO is very simple. It's getting your website to be more visible to the correct people, and in turn, like Steven said, gain revenue for you. How to get there has some technical things, but the idea, again, it's just that simple concept of gaining more traffic and increasing your revenue.
And then with this next step, so how to utilize basic best practices of SEO. I kind of mentioned Google has a thing called Google's best practices with an actual procedure list that they enlist that basically shows what you need to do to best rank your website. How to utilize it, there's a bunch of different factors, like I said, that are going to help apply, or not apply, but rank your website. But with this. So make effective website optimizations to help your website rank in search results. There's a bunch of things, and we'll kind of go over the basics. There's, like I said, abundance of different factors, but we'll kind of go over some of the broader ones. So make sure your content is relevant. Kale kind of mentioned with the web design, people have a short attention span nowadays, to where you need to make sure you're catching their attention and keeping them onto your website. So that way, hopefully, you can bundle them into some sort of conversion for your actual facility.
One of the funny things about that is, like, it sounds so simple. Hey, make sure your content's relevant. But you'd be surprised how many times we get a client that comes in that we go on and we look at their website, and their content is just so sporadic. Like, you land on the homepage and they've got things about, you got to go like my Facebook page, go do this, and then down below it talks about other businesses that they run and all this stuff. And it's just, they just think having a website is like kind of all it takes. And obviously we know that that's not true, but you'd be surprised how often just clouding the content up and making it to where there's just so much there that your content's not relevant anymore. This is a storage facility website. You need to show them quickly and easily, that you're a self-storage facility, that this is what your facility looks like, that this is what your prices are, this is what the units you have, all those basic information and all that key relevant information of what people are searching needs to be on there. And that doesn't just help the consumer find stuff. Like Steven's mentioning, that's one of the core pieces of SEO, is making sure your relevant content is actually matching up with what people are searching. So
yeah, because Ken hit on the spot. As crazy as you have to make sure it's relevant and matching. So that way, what Google does is when they crawl your website, if they see that the keywords aren't matching up with what you're trying to rank with, it wouldn't make sense why they would be able to rank you up in that specific industry. So just make sure that's relevant. The next thing is to research keywords in your industry and local area. You want to make sure that you're actually targeting keywords that apply with your actual local area and industries, just because for the most part, if there's not a bunch of traffic for per se storage units, there wouldn't be a reason why you'd want to target that, just because you want to try to get into the most dense and most popular keywords that are being searched in the area. So that way you can hopefully gain a bigger margin of people to actually find your facility. But
just to add on to that, how people search is just so important. The way people are searching today changes from area to area. So some places it might be beneficial to target self-storage. Other places people might not search for self-storage, they might search for mini storage. So when Steven's mentioning about researching that for your local area, it's pretty important so you can make your website, again, relevant to that particular consumer. So that's just it's one of the biggest aspects of SEO that people don't pay attention to and often neglect, but it's very important for your actual relevancy of your website and targeting those particular consumers that are going to be the best for you.
right, it's like setting a roadmap of what you want to do, what you want to accomplish SEO wise. What are the keywords I really want to target? Because these are the keywords people are actually searching in my area. So it's super critical and is often overlooked. SEO, a lot of times people just think, oh, I've got to go in and add a bunch of keywords and update some tags in the back end and I'm good to go. There's much more than that, and it's a lot more organic than that. Your content, everything just needs to be dialed in a lot more effectively and a lot more simply too.
And to kind of go off that as well, this is something that often is, back to the website part of things. Often people do this later on. It's actually a lot more beneficial to do that, research those keywords before you start your website, before you start almost everything, because then you can build your website with those keywords in mind instead of having to go back and changing things. You want to build your website in the best way possible in the beginning to kind of get that jump start on the competition from that.
For sure.
And then the next step is just connecting your Google My Business page. So everyone knows for instance, when you do a search, for example, restaurants in your local area, you'll see on the map there's a bunch of different listings on there. That's what's referred to as Google My Business. So we want to make sure that we actually create a listing onto that platform. So then hopefully you can start to get more testimonials and rank up there. It'll just give you one, more exposure, another platform to hopefully increase the exposure to the online web. And also two, it's a great platform to hopefully gain some more testimonials. So that way, if you're able to get a lot of 5-star reviews onto there, it's going to give people more of a reason why they should rent from your specific facility. So
I like to think of, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I like to think of Google My Business as a business card for the online world. Actually a beefed up business card, because you actually get more information. People can review your facility and know, okay, this is a quality facility. They're getting quality reviews, and also get all the information they need right there on the business page. They sometimes don't even need to go to your website. This is a free tool offered by Google, so it's important to take advantage of that.
And especially with how the SEO world has changed, local traffic and local SEO is so critical now, and the Google business page is such a key component of that, that you need to make sure you have it not only connect to your website and stuff, but that you're consistently putting on reviews and stuff. We'll circle back to that here in a minute. One thing I will say, as we're going through this, we're going to try to communicate as much as we can on all these topics. SEO is super vast, so there's so many things we could talk about. So again, if you have specific questions, don't be afraid to throw us off course here. We want to answer specific questions. If you have something that is super technical, or you have a lot of expertise or experience with SEO, throw a question in there and we'll be able to answer it as best we can. If your knowledge is much more basic and you still have a question, that's fine too. Just we want to be able to help you guys. And so if you have questions, again, just put them on there as we're going through our slides. You're not going to throw us off or anything.
Yeah, Ken, while you're saying that, I actually do have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
With the whole SEO process, if someone, starts to implement that, how long does it typically take before you start seeing results for the website?
Yeah, so that's a super common question. It's a good question. We get that a lot whenever we first bring on a client. One of the key things is, well, how long is this going to take? When am I going to actually see those results? And the answer isn't as cut and dry as I would love to give. I would love to be able to be like, hey, you're going to be there in 3 months. You're going to be able to be there in a year or 6 months. There's just really no guarantees with that. And Google's done that because they want people to do it the right way. They want to offer the best possible experience for their users. And so I honestly liken it a lot to like baking a cake, as corny as that sounds. Like, I'm going to put in all the ingredients. I'm going to do everything the right way. I'm going to follow all the best practices. I'm going to do everything. But that cake still needs time to bake, right? That it's still going to have to go in the oven and sit there and kind of build that value. And Google is very much kind of like trying to build a reputation or like a relationship with our website that we're optimizing. So if we're in there doing SEO consistently, it may take 3 months, it may take 6, it may take 9. Like, it's kind of all over the place, and it just your competition plays a role for sure. Typically, you're going to see quality results within 6 months. That doesn't mean you're going to be number one, but that's one of the reasons why tracking and reports and things like that are really important, and something that we always provide our clients with, because you may come to us, a brand new facility, a brand new website in a fairly competitive area. So you're nowhere to be found online. In 6 months, you may not be on the first page, but you're going to be on the second page, and you're going to have this huge trend line going up, right? So that's a big thing to remember, that the type of results you're looking for are obviously going to be first page, high page results, so that you're able to get more traffic. But you're still going to be able to build those results throughout that time, because that's how you get there. It's piece by piece, step by step. So hopefully that answers your question. It's kind of, it varies, it's all over the place. We really do. If we've had clients that we have got on the first page in 3 months, just super quick, and we've had them where it's taken over a year. Like, it just really depends, and sometimes it surprises us. It's been even in competitive markets. We've had a client down in Texas in Round Rock, I believe. This was years ago, but one of the ones I always remember, because he was in a really competitive area. He was a boat and RV facility, and we got him on the first page within like 3 months. And even when I talked to him and we kind of agreed to start working together, we told him to expect 6 to 10 months before they even see close to that. So it just kind of depends on how everything kind of gets pieced together and how Google really ranks your website. And you don't really have full control over that. Like Stephen was saying, it really is follow their best practices, get those steps in place, and create that good relationship with them. And then over time, you'll consistently build your ranking.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Thank you for sharing.
And then I'll continue. So with this local SEO best practices, it's referring back to that previous slide where we mentioned Google My Business. So one of the best ways to try to gain more traffic and visibility in your local area is going to be creating a Google My Business page and getting onto those listings. One of the things that makes it so great is the first point. It's a free online tool. There's a common misconception. People think that you have to pay a certain amount of fee to be able to create one, but that's just not the case. It's totally free, and Google actually encourages everyone to try to get their business out. So that way, it helps Google as well. If they can promote an actual legit business that actually offers a great product or service, it just helps them actually with a reputation of being able to provide good information to the local people. So the nice thing is, even though it's free, just make sure as long as you know what you're doing and creating it, it's totally free on that end. So the next thing, it helps gain online credibility. I kind of mentioned before, testimonials is a big thing with that. You can leave actual reviews for your listing. So if you're able to acquire a lot of 5-star reviews or positive feedback from customers, it's going to help you gain trust with potential new clients for your actual business. And then the last thing is going to be allow potential customers to find and there's a bunch of different things. So website, find your website, phone number, physical address, hours of operations, and a lot more. So one of the biggest pros of having a listing, not only for you, but for the clients as well, potential clients, is it's like an information hub right there of everything about your business. You can list, like I said before, your website, so that way they can hopefully drive more traffic to your actual website and maybe get some more rentals from there. Or they can get your phone number so they can give you a call at your facility, find your actual physical address. That's one of the biggest pros of this as well, is after people are able to rent from you, one of the problems we have is people can't find your location because they've never heard of you before. So when they're able to look you up online, they'll be able to find, like for instance, this is an example of our company, Easy Storage Solutions. If they were to look up Easy Storage Solutions online, they could just find the address bar right there, click onto directions, and they'll be able to navigate to your facility. It just makes it so much easier for clients, so that way they don't have to keep calling and asking, oh, what building are you next to, or what street? They'll have the directions directly to your actual facility. So
one other thing with this too, that I think a lot of owners probably have business pages or have heard of them or have talked about them and stuff. Sometimes people have difficulty getting verified, which we always help our clients with because there are some kind of weird rules that Google has. But one of the kind of relatively newer things that I don't think a lot of storage facilities are taking advantage of is their products. You can actually go into your business page if you've already created one or as you're doing it, and you can list out the products you offer. So you may be a self-storage facility, but you may want to highlight, well, we actually offer climate-controlled units, right? So you can actually put your individual unit types in that product section, and you can see on this page, you can see ours that says product, and it has a little picture there of our self-storage software on a tablet and stuff. Like, you can do that for your self-storage facility. So really quickly and easily, if people find you, they'll be able to see what products you have without even necessarily having to go to your website. So again, it's just a really valuable tool. We don't need to spend a ton of time on it because we do want to get through everything else, but get your Google business page verified, optimize it, and follow the best practices that Google's letting you know about. Here's some steps. We'll kind of go through this really quickly just because we want to get through our other slides and have time to answer some questions and stuff. But if you need help doing this, go on there. Matter of fact, you can even email us and we'll help you to verify it if you have questions and stuff. But follow these steps, get it all connected, fill out all your information. It is super valuable to have. So now we've got our website, we've got our management tools, we've got our website built really nice, it's professional, it's clean, it's mobile friendly. We've got our SEO started. We've started the process to add relevant content, quality photos. We're adding all the proper tags and keyword rich information that we want. But we're not ranking #1 right away, right? We just talked about how it does take time. And so there's other ways and other tools and resources that you can kind of throw into your marketing mix to increase your occupancy and get more traffic while you're building up your SEO. SEO is definitely long-term and is the most effective and successful piece of your marketing plan. But like we said, it takes time. So these are some resources that Josh is going to talk about, and I'll probably chime in on a few as well, just to help you guys get some quicker traffic and have a really balanced marketing strategy. Something we really believe in is being balanced with your approach.
For sure. And a lot of times when you think about PPC, you don't know exactly what it means and what softwares offer PPC. It just basically means pay-per-click. The most popular PPC platform out there is Google Ads. Most of you, I'm sure, are familiar with the advertisements that are listed on Google's search network. And basically, pay-per-click is just how it sounds. You only pay when somebody clicks on that particular ad and gets to where they want you to go. So right here, just to start off, PPC helps direct traffic to your website through paid advertising. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. You're going to get positioned based on how much you're paying. Every time an ad is clicked, advertisers pay a fee. Sorry, couldn't read that there. Pay a fee. So that's the pay-per-click system. There's a lot of ways you're gonna see a lot of different pricings on that. It's gonna be very dependent on where you're at. But these particular things within PPC campaigns are basically, you're gonna pay only when people go to your website. And that is why this website portion that Kale mentioned is you wanna make sure it's buttoned up, because you wanna make sure when people get to your website, that money's not wasted. You don't want people to get there and then just leave. So sorry, go.
I was saying, well, one of the things with that is like, sometimes if you're, like Josh mentioned, depending on your area, like you're gonna go and you're gonna set this budget. You're gonna say, all right, I wanna spend around this amount of money, per day or per month, however you want to kind of plan that out within your budget. But you set that budget, like you're gonna be, especially if you're in a competitive area, you're gonna be paying a decent amount of money to get these clicks, to get these people to your website. So as Josh was mentioning, like your website needs to be dialed in much before that, so that you're getting the most use out of that. PPC is super, super effective early on in a facility, and it's something that definitely we encourage, because it is very effective at getting you actual rentals, and for a fact, okay, I spent this much money, but I got this many conversions. Again, coming back to the tracking side of things. One thing I will say, if you don't know what you're doing, be careful. You can spend a lot of money really quickly by setting it up incorrectly. And sometimes Google leads you a little bit astray, because Google wants you to spend money. They're a business, right? A lot of times they're just going to say, hey, up your budget, do this. You need to you could get a lot more clicks if you just paid more money. And be careful of that. It sounds super simple and easy, and you can spend a lot of money. We've saved people thousands of dollars between saving them, from having to do that and actually setting up their accounts correctly.
Yeah. Real quick, I'll just kind of throw out an example too. It's been a few years ago, but we brought someone on with pay-per-click, and they didn't really know what they were doing. They added, I can't remember the exact location. I'll just say St. George, for example. That's where we're at. They just put St. George as a broad match keyword in their search, the keywords that they're targeting. Well, they were getting clicks for like restaurants in St. George, like Best Buy in St. George, and like nothing really relevant to their facility, and that was costing them money. So really, like Kenny said, make sure you know what you're doing, make sure it's set up correctly, or it can cost a lot of money.
Absolutely. Researching for pay-per-click, depending on which platform you're using, and we always recommend Google Ads just because it's the most popular. It's the way you can get the most traffic for what you're paying, especially in the storage industry. There's a lot of other platforms out there that, for instance, social media has their own system. We have found the most success within Google Ads for the storage industry itself, but that research beforehand, that's why we kind of want to take this back to that plan. That marketing plan that we spoke about in the beginning is so important, laying everything out, because like Ken said, is you can pay an astronomical amount of money on pay-per-click just by setting it up wrong and not get a single person to rent from your facility.
Yeah.
And that would just be money wasted. And no return for that particular thing is going to be really hard hitting on your facility, especially in the beginning.
One thing I will say too with this is, if you guys have specific questions, if you're currently running ads on your facility, or you're just not really sure where to start, like feel free. We will give you free consultation, and we'll talk to you, and we'll kind of answer some extra questions for you at no charge if you do want to go to our website and fill out the contact form. Josh is the guy that handles that PPC stuff. He's really good at it. I don't want to give him a big head or anything, but he's very smart and he's very dialed in when it comes to the techniques and the things to maximize people's budget. Kale and I were very quick to hand it to Josh because he's just so good at it. So please, if you have questions, continue to ask. I do want to keep kind of move forward because I want to get to some extra questions and stuff, but Google Ads and utilizing pay-per-click is super important, and you need to make sure that you're utilizing it, especially in the beginning of your facility where you're trying to boost your occupancy. There are other industry sources out there, or other just resources that you can use that are similar to PPC. One that I'm sure everyone knows about is SpareFoot. I'll be honest with you, a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with SpareFoot. They either love them or they hate them. But at the end of the day, they do bring you rentals. Theirs is a little bit different than a pay-per-click, but we have facility owners and even business partners that own other facilities that use SpareFoot, and it does work. I don't think it should be your only source of marketing, because that would be very expensive and dangerous. But it should be something that you consider and that you think about implementing. Your SEO and your own website and getting organic visitors and allowing people to see you and find you online should always be your primary approach. You don't want to just say, oh, well, using SpareFoot or using PPC, like Google Ads, like that, I'll guarantee that I know I'm getting website business, so I'll just put all my money and time into that. And that's just stupid, to be honest with you. It's just so short-sighted, and it will cost you so much money in the long run. We have facilities that, yeah, they may take 6 to 9 months to get onto the first page, but then they consistently stay full because they're dominating that first page in their area. So SEO will always be that priority, especially with the local SEO being such a big factor. So the last thing I want to talk about really quick is just creating a plan. I know we just talked about a lot of things, and they're very technical, and there's things that can be overwhelming probably. I'm sure some of you are just like, these guys are crazy. They're just throwing out topics and words that I don't even know what they mean. But I promise you, if you can create a plan and set some steps to follow it, marketing a self-storage facility does not have to be rocket science. It really doesn't. If you can't do it yourself, if you feel like I just don't have time, that's fine. Then in your plan, you should make it to where you find a professional to do it for you and do it for an affordable rate, something that your facility can actually manage. So what I've always tried to do whenever we've done speeches at trade shows and roundtables, things like that all over the country, and we usually talk about building this marketing plan. And one of the biggest things is setting up, once you have all these stuff set up, is setting up a time to actually go and review it. Everybody wants to talk about, does SEO work? Does marketing work? Is this advertising revenue, or is this advertising channel working? Some people love direct mailers. Some people love, radio ads or whatever. But not a lot of people will sit back and actually find the data and look at the data to know whether or not it's working or not. They go off a gut feeling, which is, again, very short-sighted. It's like throwing something at the wall and hoping it sticks. It's just not your best approach, especially when it's something as critical as your business. So set a plan very simply, once a month, once every 3 months, whatever is easy for you, to analyze your website traffic, analyze where your actual occupants are coming from, or your tenants coming from online. Are they coming from just driving by and seeing you? Which if that's the case, that's great. But actually think about it. Go through your software. Go through, again, the reason software and things like that are important is so that you can know where these people are coming from. Another example is sometimes, especially in a lot of rural areas, they may be near 3 other cities, or they may be, there might be 3 suburbs kind of pushed around one area, and you may be getting a ton of people from this other city that you're not really tracking or that you're not really optimizing for. So that might be an area that you want to start pushing into your SEO plan so that you can get more traffic and more people from there in those actual locations. So again, so build a routine, get it to where you're doing it consistently, and then that you're actually going through everything. Again, doing this can be kind of risky for some people because they'll get in their head and they'll go crazy. They'll say, oh, I'm not getting rentals fast enough, or I'm not ranking quick enough. Be patient. You wouldn't pull out your 401k after 6 months, right? This is an investment. Marketing should be an investment into your business for the long term. I don't want to just do well at my facility for 6 months. I want to do well for years to come. So set this up and be patient, but at the same time, don't be complacent. Be vigilant, look at what's going on, look for areas to improve, but give itself time to breathe. Give the things that you're doing time to actually bring in results. And then the last 2 points, is just keep it simple, but be consistent. You don't have to make this plan crazy long and spend 7 hours looking at your marketing report and finding out, like, have 4 or 5 steps and 4 or 5 areas that you look at every month, go in and do it, and then plan out a couple steps to improve it or to adjust. The adjustment period is very critical, but I think a lot of times people think that they have to always be adding to it and changing stuff, or they think, oh, I can just sit there and never touch it. And it's not either of those things. It has to be, you have to be patient, but you have to be vigilant and make those adjustments.
One thing to add just to that plan, that portion of analyzing your data, we talked about staying relevant as well. That will help you to stay relevant. It'll set reminders for you to keep your website up to date and to make those proper changes.
Yeah, it's something that I wish if we learn anything in this, and you guys take anything from this, is that marketing your self-storage facility does not have to be rocket science. It can be very simple, but as long as it's very direct with what your steps, the steps that you're taking, following these steps we've laid out today, getting some SEO done, getting some other resources like PPC and other things balanced into your marketing strategy will work. You just have to be able to pay a little bit of attention to it and be consistent. Hopefully this helps. If there's any questions, Jessica, you can throw out some of those other ones, or we can, we'd love to hear from other people as well about, what you're currently doing at your facility or things that you can do to improve it.
Yeah, I do have a question from someone in the audience. Can you give an example of one of your clients that made an improvement and what the improvement was recently? Whether it was they adopted on SEO or they used one of your other services, call answering, any of the services that you guys do currently offer?
Yeah, I was just talking to one of our accountants that runs the accounting service. He just poked his head in before we started this actually, and told us, he says, hey, like, I just talked to this guy and he had just been using the software and the accounting service. That's all he was using. And he was just kind of strapped. He was just kind of like, I just don't know what to do. I'm not getting a lot of rentals. I just added like 40 or 50 units and they're just not full. And he's kind of panicking. He doesn't know what to do because they're just not renting up. And he's in a decently competitive area. And so our accountant talked to him. So, well, yeah, we have these other services that are really effective for you. And so obviously we don't know the end result of this, but he's signing up with the SEO and marketing service, and we're going to do PPC for him so that he can start getting some actual traffic for this. But he's also signing up with the call answering service and cutting some costs because he's missing phone calls, he said, and he's just worried about, making sure that he's there because those calls are so important. So that's one just real time that just really happened today. Another one, and feel free to jump in, guys, but another really common one is kind of the scenario I laid out before, where we've had facility owners, kind of struggling. We're just dominating in one area. Let's say they're in kind of a smaller area, but there's a lot of small towns around them. And they said, I'm number one on every keyword in my town, but there's just not that many people. There's only, 5 or 10,000 people in this town. So I'm just not getting enough traffic to fill up my facility. And so we'll walk through and adjust and look at the other areas that are close by. If there's people in other towns and communities within 10 to 15, even 20 minutes sometimes, especially in rural areas, they'll still be something that you want to target. And so a lot of the times we'll go in and we'll start targeting those areas, adding more content, getting the SEO dialed in for those areas as well. And then over time, they'll start renting more units based on being found in those areas. Do you guys have any others you guys want to?
I mean, I've seen several times both SEO, pay-per-click, how facilities gain and keep rentals. PPC is not, sometimes for some facilities it's a year-round thing, some other facilities it's a seasonal thing. Yeah. And I've seen where they got full for the winter because of PPC. They can turn it off and then they can sustain until the next winter with SEO. So a lot of those services help not only gain rentals, but keep rentals, keep you up to date.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many facilities we've seen come on. Let's say they've been around a while. They're capped at like 70% occupied, and they can't seem to get over that hump to get over that 70%. And a lot of times, we'll come in, we'll actually implement, SEO practices that they were ignoring. And, over time in PPC, and over time they get up to 85 or 90%. It's not anywhere that they've been before. So, there's definitely a lot of examples that we have of clients like that have gained occupancy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Not to take too much time on this, but also on top of that, Josh kind of mentioned they're also maintaining that occupancy at a high level as well. We've also seen with clients where it actually gives them new avenues to expand and actually gain more units to their facility and also gain more customers, so that way they can actually increase the amount of revenue that they're driving in. So it's also benefited with that as well.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many, with the economy that's been in the industry's just been growing so much over the last few years, like so many clients now that they're full, they're just like, okay, well, should I turn off my marketing service? Should I stop doing SEO? And it's like, no, that's the last thing you want to do, because you start to lose your ranking, right? And so we say, well, what other ways, can we want to keep you there so your occupancy is high, but what are some other things they can do? And they say, oh, well, actually I have room to expand. And then they add more units and then they fill those up. And it's been great to see the growth in the industry, but a lot of times some of the adjustments that are being made, I think, by a lot of facilities is sticking with it. Not giving up on the things that they're currently doing. I think that is something that is tough, because you don't want to be doing something and just say, I'm just going to keep doing it. I'm going to be patient if it's not working. So you still need to be able to be tracking it and know that it's working and that it's building. But at the same time, if you try to do SEO for 6 months and then just quit because you're not on the first page, like, well, no, there's no way you're going to be on the first page. Usually it takes time. And so if you just bounce out of that and stop doing it, you're not going to ever rank there. So you got to really think about being patient and at the same time being vigilant. It's a huge part of it. So that's a big adjustment that I think the most common one we see is just getting people to be educated on what to do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we see that too, where it's just like people are wanting that instantaneous result. And unfortunately, with some of these, key categories, it does not happen that way. It's not overnight. It takes months of nurturing and making sure, like you guys have first said in the beginning, that the content is still good and relevant and good content that even attracts somebody, into the website where they would start to click around and see what's going on. So I do have a question. You mentioned your person from your tax department came in. I know you guys offer a ton of different services. If I'm an owner or operator of a self-storage facility and I come to you guys and I want to customize a program, cherry pick through like the list of offerings, is there like a discounted service that you offer? Because I've signed on for maybe 4 of your 8 services that you offer, or how does that look and work?
Yeah, we do offer discounts. We're very much custom. We don't really have anything standard across the board, but
Sure.
Usually what we do a lot of times, if you sign up for extra services or multiple services that we offer, is usually we're just going to give you the first month or 2 for free, kind of to give you a big chunk just right in the beginning, so that you're not having to eat that cost right away, especially with a lot of our services like marketing, where it does take time to build results. But we have a full staff of salesmen and additional service salesmen specifically that will walk you through and kind of consult with you and decide what you really want to use. We're not going to be pressuring you to use all of our services or anything like that. It's very much an a la carte.
Sure.
But it's funny, we've done some case studies recently, and the facilities who utilize the most services, or all of our services, are usually the ones that make more money. I mean, as biased as that sounds, it's just we offer a lot of value in an affordable package that allows you to really customize what you need as a facility, but maximize your efficiency on really every part of your business, from the software to marketing to answering phones, and even down to your taxes at the end of the year, making sure we save you money when it comes time to pay taxes.
And not only is it, people are happy they're making more money, they're also less stressed. A lot of small business, small storage facility owners, mom and pop shops are doing everything on their own, marketing, answering phone calls, accounting, and, taking a lot of that off your plate and making people more money kind of, really makes them happy and less stressed. So that.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the reasons our whole mission statement and everything, and I guess our motto is Storage Simplified, is just, we want people to be able to see this industry as something that they can invest in. We know that it is a very common side hustle for a lot of people to go and get an investment property and do this.
It is.
We built this company, and we've been growing at this pace that we have been because we want to keep it simple for people and allow people to be successful without dominating their life.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, we definitely hear that with some of the smaller mom and pop shops that,
Yeah.
they need a solution because they're working crazy hours. They have, no time to dedicate back to their family because they took on this venture. So I'm sure they'll be appreciative to hear that. I do have a question from someone in the audience. This is from Bill Gibbs. He says, you mentioned the value of using products on your Google My Business page. Unfortunately, I don't have a products category. Instead, I have services. Do you know of any way to get Google to add a products category to my Google My Business listing? And I think that's the end of the question. Yeah. Anybody?
So unfortunately, as far as customizing specific things for that on the Google listing, we don't have any control over that. It just comes down to Google and whatever update. I mean, back in the day, they didn't even have services or even categories much into the listing. So they are evolving much as they start to put more focus onto the Google listing or Google My Business page. But the unfortunate thing is right now they do have services, but they don't have, like you said, the products. Well, they're working. Yeah, depending on the category. So we can try our best to try to find some loopholes and to trying to add specific things for like storage units, but unfortunately we don't have full control over what specific customization we can put onto your Google listing.
Now, one thing we can do though with that is, especially if you're, a lot of times it depends on what category you've categorized your business as, because you can pick like self-storage facility, storage facility. I think there's even like mini storage. There's a lot of the categories that are kind of the same thing. So, and a lot of times you can just list out the services as well. Like your services these are my units that I offer. You can still just list it as that as well. But if you want, we can take a look at it specifically, like call us, send it, or go to our website, whatever, give us a call, and we'll go in and look at it with you and make sure we can optimize it, because it's probably a simple fix, because it's pretty standard to have the products portion listed in your Google's business page. It just depends on how it's all set up. So we could definitely at least take a look and go through it. And if we have to, we can try to work with Google to find a solution.
And to add on to that, one of the nice things with the services section of the Google listing, it's pretty customizable even within there, where you can actually add your own keywords. It doesn't always have to be something that's within their whole list of keywords. You can put custom keywords into there as well. So if you want to do like a specific storage, like climate controlled storage, you can put that in there into it. Yeah, so there is a lot of flexibility within the services, but as far as the product specifically, and at least the self-storage industry, it right now isn't something that we can muster up.
Gotcha. Well, we only have about 2 more minutes left. I'll ask this one final question, and this goes back to the Google Ads and the Google Ad budget. Is there like a magic number out there? Does it depend on the storage facility size, where they're located? Do you have maybe like some benchmark numbers that you could share as far as like a suggestion of what people should be spending?
So it's very dependent on your area, very dependent on the facility size.
Sure.
Because if you're in a competitive area, you're competing for those top positions with other people. And because it's a pay-per-click system, Google's going to offer that position to the person who is willing to pay the most. So if you're in an area where it costs $10 for a click, then you're going to want to make your budget a little bit higher so you can actually not only remain competitive, but also get as much traffic as possible within those clicks. So there is a magic number per facility. And finding that magic number is the key.
Guys, and you would be able to look at it. Okay, cool.
Exactly. Some facilities might need a budget of $1,500 a month. Others might only need a budget of $300, and that's their magic number. But that magic number, again, is just tailored to that particular facility. If you go over that budget, then you're wasting a little bit of money. If you go under it, you're not competitive. And that's what the main goal, and that research and making your plan is so important to find that particular sweet spot, I like to call it. So
definitely test and set up test budgets and go through those things, because you're not going to just be able to be like, oh, 700, and then just, I mean, getting it on the first try would be pretty crazy. So set up test budgets, analyze what you're doing, and set that plan to adjust it.
Yeah, and make sure you're tracking everything as well, because you can't really find that magic number without tracking conversions on the website.
The conversions,
One of the most common things that people forget to do as well is set up those conversions look at the traffic, make sure that your goal completions are even set up in your analytics account too, so that you actually know that people are filling out forms or renting units or making phone calls to your facility.
I will say lastly with that particular question, for expectation purposes, expect to at least spend $300 a month in no matter area. You can set your budget to whatever you'd like it to be, but in order to be competitive for most areas, at least that $10 a day budget is kind of where you're going to want to stay. So 300 per month is kind of what you can be looking at minimum, and then you can find that sweet spot from there.
Sure, that's great to know. Well, sorry guys that this was so much information and we're unfortunately out of time, but I really appreciate you guys joining us today. I'm sure our attendees are thankful as well. You guys gave us some really great information, and that's what we're trying to do here, is just keep everybody connected and in the know of the industry trends and standards that we're seeing. Should any of the attendees out there have any questions after this webinar, you can always reach out to us and we can connect you to Easy Storage Solutions. You can reach out at info@thesboa.com. And if you'd like more information about this webinar or any of our upcoming events, you can go to the new business resources section on the website, which is for SBOA, www.thesboa.com. Gentlemen, it was a pleasure as always. We love working with your team. We look forward to, keeping the synergy going with you guys, and I hope everyone has a great day out there.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.